difference is we don't have an advertising ID. Your phone is like a 25-digit, basically like a mark of the beast, which follows you everywhere. And they know where you go, what you buy, where you go, who you call, what you buy, and what you browse. This resulted from the nonsense after the 2020 elections. Big tech was canceling certain apps and shutting off certain voices. And I said to some of my much smarter friends, we need our own phone that they cannot cancel, they cannot control. And so this is an unplugged phone, high-end camera, same one's on the iPhone 15. But the difference is we don't have an advertising ID. Your phone is like a 25-digit, basically like a mark of the beast, which follows you everywhere. And they know where you go, who you call, what you buy, and what you browse. I've had so many people I've talked to, they said, yeah, I was talking to my wife in our bedroom about the need for a mattress, and the next day we're getting advertising for mattresses. So imagine that phone listening in their bedroom.
Next time your phone comes on.
So this phone prevents that. It allows you to be in the world, but not of the world, and not be collected and tracked.
God, it's called what? Unplugged?
Unplugged.
I gather my thoughts and gather my energy here. I swear, feeling the sun on me is just like such a good feeling. There's nothing like it. I was just sitting here, my eyes closed, my neighbor pulled out. She probably waved. I got a late wave in. Didn't react to the car coming down there, hearing the noise. It's deep inside. I live in that space, man. I come back to that space a lot. Back of my brain. Get a lot done there. It's where I envision my future. It's really where I envision our future collectively for us. And this is really like the source of where I'm speaking from in this video. I see a future, I see multiple futures for us and for our society and for our children. And I believe that's time for men to stand up and take part in determining our future. In the last few years, I mean, bunch of years, we've been pushed around. We've quietly taken care of our families, done our jobs, paid our taxes, really done what was asked of us. And this is generations have done this here. You'd think that we would have some progress by now, good progress. Boy, my grandfather, God bless him, Simone, he's passed away. My grandfather Eisenhower is still alive, he's 94, and God bless him as well. Both Williams, and but their generation worked hard, fought in World War II. Very similar time to what it is right now. And they sacrificed a lot. They came back to this country and they built this country for a lot what we see it today. And so did the successive generations. And while we haven't been perfect, and while we all have our own faults, right? Collectively, I think the people, us, we've done nothing but put our heads down and try to do right and try to love our families and try to make a good life for ourselves, right? The same type of life that the people who wrote our Constitution envisioned and wanted to secure for themselves and for their family. And wanted to make sure that there was a way that these people that have control over us now, that it would never get to where it is now. Okay? You know, this is the attack on our current system. We're one of the last bastions of freedom, of written law in the world, you know? And that's really, aside from, you know, bloody overthrows here, that's the last chance that people have to stand up and claim freedom in a peaceful way. We can always take peaceful routes, but we have it written into law and into a system to go and do this, right? It's right here, we have it. They are manipulating it and modifying it, the system, to benefit them as we go in real time, slowly removing our rights and our ability to stand up and do what I'm talking about. Okay? So like that's the technical aspect of what's going on, right? The end result there is like, to, you know, where are we at? What does that mean? Take a look around. We live in a corporate oligarchy. We do not have some type of democracy or republic. Maybe we did at one point, but it's clear to see that we live in a corporate oligarchy system. Our government is bought and paid for by corporations. They wield all the power and they call all the shots. We are ruled by a class of people that would be considered a ruling class or a separate class. They're the oligarchs, and these are also, you know, we still have like robber baron type stuff going on, right? So what does that mean? So we live in a corporate oligarchy today. That's what we got going on. All of our institutions are corrupt. Name a public institution that is still functioning properly and is not a threat to you and I, and to you and me and to our families. I'll wait. We have corrupt and broken institutions that serve to lead us to our downfall and our enslavement. Broken system, broken society, run by broken institutions. Two-party politics is obsolete, okay? Do you guys really believe any of this stuff? Are you kidding me? What a joke. What a joke. I mean, it's really hard for me to respond to it any other way. I mean, I just can't believe that people are still caught up in this circus. Listen, man, Democrats, Republicans, it's all the same thing. They don't vary much from each other. Trump isn't any savior. He's part of the deal, man. He's one of them for sure. I had hope in Trump at first, sure, and I do think he was like a buck in their plans, right? I don't think they wanted him to be president, for sure, you know, right? Like, Hillary was supposed to be in there. But he's, you know, he ain't totally looking out for us, man. Look, all we got to do is look at the Warp Speed program, and I mean, hey, he has a lot of blood on his hands. A lot. There's nothing about the political system, nothing about him that gives me any faith to think that somehow he's gonna like change anything. Sure, are there groups of people trying to persecute him and put these lawsuits on him? Whatever, sure. And boy, could that be something that would be like what you would do to a guy like that to make him look persecuted and have the support of the normal people. Man, look, they're hitting him for just being a businessman. I've owned real estate. This property right here I own was bought off of real estate income, essentially. I don't relate to Trump, right? The bottom line for me is that he's part of this system that we know is corrupt and we know is a certain way. He's not going to do us any good. Anything that keeps us looped in to the same two-party round and round is bad. Period. If we want to see, if you want to like engage in politics still, right? Because what I believe is we should be not voting, okay? Like, I don't believe that the country is as split as they say it is. I don't. I think that it's all a ruse to get everyone to stay in this divided down the middle thing. I think the country's more like 70-30, 80-20, easy. Anything that keeps us locked into this is retarded, right? So like, people have been showing up to vote in these elections, and I mean, I don't know. Personally, around here, they didn't. You know, we can talk about elections all we want, because I don't want to talk about it. So I'm not going to talk about it. And the bottom line is any participation in this system is playing into their hands. Period. That's it. You know. So if we really want to see what will go on and how true these elections are, right, is I think we would all abstain from voting collectively and see what type of numbers they give back to us. Oh man, I bet you it's still right down the middle with same percentage turnout, you know. It's always been, it's gonna stay like that no matter what happens. And then you're gonna, you know, people are gonna continue to plug into TV and the news cycle and keep getting their emotions whipped up round and round. You know, I don't own a TV or a phone, and cancel my smartphone. It's been about 1.5 years now. And I haven't had TV for, shoot, you gotta be like 20 plus years, really. Most of my adult life, the only time I've had a TV as an adult is really when my partner, you know, the girlfriend I had at the time, was accustomed to it and wanted it. So I'd probably say I had a TV in my home maybe 5 years out of the last, since I was an adult. I'm 42, and so no TV, no influence like that for a long time, and no phone. The phone thing, man, I mean, you know, I quit social media. Not quit, but like I put Facebook away quite a long time ago. I mean, I don't know when I put it away. You'd be able to see it on my Facebook, but there was a year, 2017, 18, I don't know, somewhere in there. I stopped it for about 1 year, and cut back a lot from it. And so I noticed what the Facebook was doing to me, and I didn't like how it was like really kind of interfering with my daily life and long-term life, my life in general. So I cut Facebook out once, came back to it. You know, I don't never had other social medias. The big thing with it is that I didn't like how it diverted my attention. I saw my attention span like diminishing, and I didn't like how I wasn't able to focus on things that I wanted to do, it seemed. So I've been careful in my life to remove these things, because I've been aware of what they put into me. Like I never liked horror films, never in my life. I, grew up through the 80s, and the 80s horror was like, a big thing. Never cared for them at all. It's just not something that I like to do. I never liked to put that energy into me. I didn't like to connect to that vibe for that period, like at all, and certainly not for like a whole period of time. I remember early on watching like horror stuff and being, affected after taking in a full movie. So, as I went with life, I realized that was something I didn't want to do. That was really probably, that was early on. I'm a child there, making decisions about the media that comes in and what I take in. I've always been focused on putting good things into me. I like to learn, even when I did watch TV, I like documentaries, things of that nature, things that were like of a neutral emotional sense, right? Things that sparked all the stuff that happens when you learn, like in your brain. I as a side note, I recently found out that like the whole process of learning something new is like a special thing that happens in your brain. There's actually like rewarding feelings and emotions that will come from starting the pathway of learning new information. And that's like something I just love to do, different things and learn new things. And I swear, like I'm addicted to that, whatever that process is of creating these new neural pathways. And so if maybe some of you guys out there might have experienced the same thing. And if you're on YouTube, that's probably one clue that you're digging into that sort of vibe and getting into that space in your brain and creating new pathways, because this is a self-controlled form of media. And that's why this is my only form of media, and it's been for a long time. I pick what I want to watch, and I like it that way. Most of the time I'm watching stuff that sparks interest of mine. There's not much good out there in the world, to watch and to take in. All sorts of media. And when I come back to media, boy, it makes me sick. Movies, TV, boy, it makes me sick. Like, there's just an overarching theme of violence that I think if you don't take yourself away from it, and out of it, you don't really notice that it's like there, and it's not normal. You see, I've also recently, I'm a loner, I would say, but at the same time, a leader, and I've had lots of people around me in my life. But I like my alone time, and recently in life, I had things that happen that have caused me to isolate. And I've spent a lot of time by myself, and last few years, and boy, that's hammered home this point even further, because it's not just the media that I'm not taking in, right? But I've also like not taken in a lot of like societal interactions, and it's really odd, you know, you go a few years without really interacting with people, and you go back and you can really see certain things pretty clearly. You know, my state of mind is like unadulterated, and I'm blessed to have been able to isolate myself in this way. It wasn't all fun because I was going through a lot of bad stuff, you know, but it did allow me to have this unique perspective. Boy, you know, just like with the movies, and I go back to watching a TV or a movie, TV show or a movie, and it like is just very violent to me. I mean, there's like whole shows and channels based around this sort of thing, right? Like the show Snapped, you know, all these different murder shows, the crime it's everything. There's so much violence everywhere. When I go out and I don't see that in people when I do go out. You know, what I see people enacting the programming, right? So yes, I see violence prevalent in the world. I see it in people's demeanors. I see it in how they act and behave, but it's a fear thing, right? I really see it. It's prevalent. I think you see people rising above it, and you see people living in it out there, right? But boy, it's people are wearing it because they're getting pounded with it all the time, right? That's my point. I don't think we realize how much of that is all from the outside put on us. So we're living in this, and that goes for like everything, man. Violence, all these different other types of bad behaviors. The trans issue that they threw in our faces and are like polluting our kids with. Drugs, living in being in relationships out of marriage, normalizing sex out of marriage, normalizing the poor treatment of women, normalizing normalizing just straight corrupting our kids' brains, man. And they're like making us sit there and be okay with this. You know? That's a ritual in of itself. We're undergoing training, you know? That's what's happening. We're undergoing training. So I noticed a lot of these things with no TV and no phone. I choose to spend my time on good things, myself and interests. I don't know if it's like a coping strategy, you know? Could be. But I like to develop different interests and put time into constructive information and thought, and really like make attempts to rise above all this and see through it. That's why I'm making these videos. That's why I have these videos, and that's why I have this channel.
Doesn't have an operating system. We block that, and it's actually the first one with an actual firewall on it that you can hard off the Wi-Fi, the camera, the microphone.
Who's the service through?
T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and we prefer Patriot Mobile. But the difference is this is our operating system with our own store, VPN, antivirus, messenger. But the difference is we don't have an advertising ID. Your phone is like a 25-digit, basically like a mark of the beast, which follows you everywhere. And they know where you go, what you buy, where you go, who you call, what you buy, and what you browse. And the handset,
Wow.
right? Apple, Google, take that data, export it to the tune of about $180 a year. And the apps that are on your phone also work with that ad ID to export to the point of even turning on the microphone,
And they make
turning
extra
on the camera,
money
turning
off
on
enslaving you.
GPS.
Crazy.